Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Shore of the 3-1 group, but I'm not the only one of this group. I got some partners as well. We appreciate you joining us for our discussion today. We'll tell you a little bit more later about how you can find out the rest of the things that we have available and subscribe to us as well. But first, let me welcome in Mike Morgan and Kevin Kolbe. Gentlemen, greetings on the 3-1 group.
How's it going?
What's happening, Dave?
Hey, I got a topic for you guys. Every time in history, whether it's been something that happened in a decade or whatever, this has happened, the watershed moment, and someone had to adjust to it. Let's go back and frame what 2020 meant to where we all are today and what we had to do. It wasn't just a company, fellas, that ended up coming through something, a crisis that they had to get over. It wasn't a person or a group of people that had to do it. It was everyone. We were all launched into one thing together, all launched onto the highway to try to figure it out together. And it really had to do a lot with what we're all talking about. Being, using video, being leaders, finding a way to make a sale that had never been done before. What did we learn from the watershed moment?
Yeah, I think that the very first thing you learn in a watershed moment that applies to pretty much anything, any period in your life where there's some change is you have no choice but to figure out a way to success, right? I mean, we had this societal, worldwide, break put on everyone as it relates to their lifestyle, their business, everything. Well, the very first thing that we all realized was, well, we got to figure this out. We got to figure out how do we keep doing what we were trying to do pre-pandemic in the midst of the pandemic, and how's that going to affect us post-pandemic? So you have to start calculating what your new reality might be, what it has to look like right now, what it may look like in the near future, and what it's going to look like in the far future. And then you have to get active. At the end of the day, we all face the same reality. Things were shutting down. Drastic changes were being made around the globe and certainly everywhere in the United States. But we had to adapt. And I think that that's a lesson for pretty much any obstacle you run into in life is when you hit the obstacle, the very first thing you need to start thinking about is, how do I overcome this? What do I need to redirect? How do I need to pivot, which is a popular word in 2020? How do I change direction? What's the one thing I can do today to make sure that I don't get stuck in the midst of this massive change?
Yeah. And I'll speak a little personal for me. I mean, it changed how I do business in a way as my business, because rather than going to people and maybe producing video with them, I pivoted to helping more people remotely maybe get into video and understand video a little better. One of the things I've noticed is that, take Zoom, for example. I mean, Zoom was never designed to do what it's being used to do right now. And they were having issues crippling, and then Google said, "Hey, well, we'll match kind of what Zoom is doing." And what ended up happening though is you had some of these tech giants kind of battling it out, but it made it better for some of us who have to use video even more because, oh, wait a minute, now I can reach more people. I can have more people on a call. I can, in fact, some of them were even doing it free, and so it's like, okay, then how do I take that and use that for my business to reach more people? If I can't go somewhere, how can I go somewhere virtually, which has become now the new thing, virtually speaking and virtual presentations. But it's that adapting to that, you either figure it out or you really, really get left behind. But video and the internet and a lot of that, it's an equal playing field for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, guys, I think we've all kind of told the story as to what we had to do. I went from the media and the sports world to now running a nonprofit, and a nonprofit bases a lot of our fundraising events on being on site, doing something like a walk, a ride, a run. We didn't have time to go to the R&D department to figure out how to do it. Everybody went virtual, and you had to figure out how in the world are you going to do a walk, a statewide walk virtually. And now that we've been through it, And the day will come, and the day has come, when things get back to normal again. That will still be a huge element that we will always use. We'll never just throw it aside and say, well, you know what, we don't need the virtual part anymore. So I think it's amazing in the leadership part, as to the fact that you just kind of stay the course. You kind of know that this is going to work, and it's got to work. And it's really, really hard sometimes to pull yourself up and do that. But you got to convince all the ones with you that this is going to be okay. We're going to come out on the other end of this. And I think that's what's been the watershed moment of this for me.
Yeah, well, and something else too is that how e-commerce was already growing and then kind of exploded, because it became a good time to think, well, maybe I need some extra income. Maybe I've got these skills. Maybe I want to start a business. Maybe I finally launched that online course I was thinking about. Maybe I do that webinar. Maybe I just start a YouTube channel and start sharing my craft. And that, to me, is another great example of rather than going, wow, times just suck, and they can, as, okay, how can I get off the pity party and turn this around and use it to my advantage in a good way, not taking advantage of other people, but using it to support myself or my family, or just even causes I want to donate back to.
Yeah, look, I think at the start of any significant change, you have to make a very quick decision. I can do this, or I can't do this. And if you decide you can't do it, you'll be exactly right. If you decide I can do this, I must do this, I'm going to do this, it's not going to be easy, but it's possible. The very next thing you have to ask yourself is, how can I get this done? And then you got to start acting. And there is no blueprint for how to do something for the first time. There was no blueprint in 2020 for how do we navigate our way through a global shutdown, through, with a pandemic. There was no playbook for that. But the people who've done marginally well, or maybe even better than they were doing pre-pandemic, were the ones who said, okay, this is the new reality. I have a mission, I have a goal, I have something to accomplish. Yeah. How am I going to make that happen? Because the option of not making it happen isn't an option. That's off the table. And I think that mentality puts you in the space to get lucky, to get a little bit of a head start on all the people that stuck their head in the sand and said, oh gosh, nothing, everything's broken, nothing's going to work anymore. And it's just that the getting out of the gate with I can make this happen. I'm not going to allow this to, derail my mission, my goal, my vision. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I'm going to start acting in this direction, and I'm going to figure it out as I go. And I think that that's like a success formula that you can apply for a global pandemic, or, a significant business challenge, or some change in your personal life that was unexpected. All of those things correspond right back to make the decision that you're going to make it happen, and then start working to figure it out.
That's a good point.
I think it's been interesting because each of us kind of focus on a certain area here on the 3-1 group, but for both of your areas, sales and marketing, and content and video, it's really been something that people had to get up to speed at really quickly. We all worked together at one point, but Mike and I used to work together, and I worked in a lot of industries that had sales departments. And Mike, I always had a simple rule, a simple filter. If I saw salespeople more in the office sitting, I knew that they had to be down at the bottom of the barrel, because you weren't getting anything done sitting in the office if you weren't out. But it really launched you into somehow being making those human contacts, relating those experiences, and doing it in using video or whatever. I think sometimes you can ease your way in from the shallow end of the pool. This one, we all got thrown in the deep end. It was sink or swim right away.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, this has been a fun discussion. Somehow these kind of things happen, and we have to find a way to overcome them. Gentlemen, have a good one.
Dave, it's been great today, man.
Yeah. Well, folks, please, if you like what you hear and you're watching it or you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe, write a review. Put your questions and comments in, because we love to explore new topics, ones that we can throw around each other as well. For Mike, for Kevin, I'm Dave. Thanks for joining us here on the 3-1 Group.